Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. I'm Nika and today I'm going to be sharing with you all the books that I got in the month of June. So May was a pretty good month for me in terms of my book ban. I decided to try it out and see if I can control myself. Successfully, I'm happy to say that I was successful and I didn't get any new book in May, but in June I did end up getting I think 4 new books. So without further ado, I'm gonna share all of those with you. So the first book that I got is a classic, and the reason I got this was, firstly, it has always been in my TBR. I really wanted to read it in my wish list, and you know, this time around me and a couple of friends, we decided we'd do a buddy read together. And I bought it for that intention. Unfortunately, I couldn't join the buddy read because I was busy with the whole shifting thing. In case you didn't know, I've just shifted recently, and I've actually also uploaded my shifting vlog, so you can check that out. But yeah, I was busy shifting, you know, figuring out things, doing all the adulting things, so I couldn't actually join the buddy read, unfortunately, very sadly, because I was actually looking forward to it. The book is The Outsider by Camus. I've heard so much about this book. I've heard so much about Camus' works. I have read none of Camus' work, unfortunately. Let me share a synopsis of this one. Firstly, this version has been translated by Sandra Smith. Okay. The sky seemed to rip apart from end to end to pour fire down upon me. Mersault will not conform. When his mother dies, he refuses to show his emotions simply to satisfy the expectations of others. And when he commits a random act of violence on a sun-drenched beach, his lack of remorse only compounds his guilt in the eyes of society and the law. Camus' portrayal of a man confronting the absurdity of human life became an existentialist classic, yet it is also a dreamlike, sensual book filled with quiet joy in the tender indifference of the physical world. So I'm really excited to read this book, and it's quite thin, as you can see. This is one of those classics that you can probably read in a day or two, or you know, probably a quite easy classic as far as I've heard so far. So yeah, this is one book that I got in June. Then I wanted to read a couple of poetry books as well, so I got Ocean Vuong's Night Sky with Exit Wounds. I've read On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, I think a couple of years ago. Liked it, I really liked it, and I've actually seen a few snippets of Ocean Vuong's poetry on social media, you know, on Instagram, and I really liked whatever I've read so far. So I decided, why not give the actual collection a try, especially because it's also the winner of the T.S. Eliot Prize 2017. So I got this one. Again, it's a pretty thin book, and here is a brief synopsis about the book. An extraordinary debut from a young Vietnamese American, Night Sky with Exit Wounds is a book of poetry unlike any other. Steeped in war and cultural upheaval and wielding a fresh new language, Vuong writes about the most profound subjects: love and loss, conflict, grief, memory and desire, and attends to them all with lines that feel newly minted, graceful in their cadences, passionate and hungry in their tender, close attention. This is an unusual, important book, both gentle and visceral, vulnerable and assured, and its blend of humanity and power make it one of the best first collections of poetry to come out of America in years. So really excited to read it, and it's also I think the mode of writing is also quite different. For instance, you have this poem which is almost as you can see here, this is almost prose-like, but the next poem is so fragmented, you know, in terms of how it's written and printed. Then we've got this whole paragraph-like thing, and then we've got this poem entirely written in footnotes. So it's quite diverse, and I am eager to read it and see how it goes. Moving on, since I was in the mood for poetry, I decided to get another poetry book, a bit different from the previous one, that is Ocean Vuong's one. This time I decided to get Where Stories Gather, poems by Karuna Izara Parikh. Now, I actually follow this author on Instagram, and I am in love with her aesthetics, with the way she expresses herself, whether it is something related to literature, to her poems, to her book, or whether it's just her everyday, fashion, lifestyle, aesthetic, her view on different socio-political things that she posts on her page, and all of that. So I really, really admire her, and the way she expresses herself, the way she speaks in all the reels that she does, in all the in her new book club videos as well. She expresses herself so beautifully. There is this flow to her and everything, and I've actually again seen a couple of these poems on social media. I really, really liked it, and so I decided I wanted to give it a try before maybe actually picking up the book. So I personally feel like whenever you're thinking of exploring a new writer's works, it sometimes is helpful if you check out their short stories, their poems first, to see if that voice is something that you like reading or not. So here is a brief synopsis of the book. What is the poet's job? Is it to mark the momentous, to elevate the everyday, to cultivate comical chickens? How might one inhabit the role one is perceived to be playing at any given point? Who are all these people with smooth corners, and do they ever write poems? Is the poet akin to the seamstress who nips and tucks and gathers the edges of a tattered identity, with its difficult coloration, its predetermined labels? Karuna Izara Parikh is as wary of labels as she is chary of the cult of personality. By returning to the ancient impulse of the narrational mode, this young poet is not merely inviting us to gather around an imaginary bonfire to swap heartwarming tales, but also insisting that we tell those stories that may curdle the blood. She wonders whether silence affects statistics, whether we humans damage everything we touch. She laughs out loud, she curls inward, she contemplates future redundance and suggests we float, illegal as it may be. Through the wry wisdom of her patient and yes, puckish observations, she creates a circle of voices around a core of solitude. Come in, she says, tell me again. Listen to this book as I did, then pause, reflect, rewind, and listen again. In the words of Sampurna Chatterjee. So, yeah, again, this is a book that I really want to read, and I think this cover is very stunning. Words written amidst flora. Seems to be stuck in a mound of salt. Not sure, but beautiful, beautiful book cover as well, and this one, as you can see. Moving on, the last book that I got in the month of June is actually a book for studies. It's an academic theory book, not fiction or poetry. And the one that I'm talking about is this one, Literary Theory and Fiction by Patricia Wog. As you all might know, I did my bachelor's, my master's in English, and I personally think that my literary theory and criticism is not that strong. I need to know more about it, and there's so much that I'm yet to understand, yet to learn. And so I think this is a good edition. I've actually been recommended this one, the South Asia edition, by a former colleague who also did a master's in English. So I'm excited to read this and see how it goes, and study and make my own thoughts and impressions. And it is pretty good because we've got the basic concepts of criticism and aesthetic origins. So with that, we've got the whole mimesis, the originals, basically, you could say. Then we've got criticism and critical practices in the 20th century. So we have the modernist theories coming in. We've got Lamarck, Gary Day, Gareth Rees, Michael Bell, David Fuller, all of those. And then we've also got literary theory, movements and school, which is really, I think, basic in understanding, in forming your own basics and foundation. So we've got post-colonialism, race, nation, ethnicity, sexualities, then postmodernism, structuralism, all of that. Then we've also got futures and retrospects, in which we have psychoanalysis, psychology, trauma, theories of the gaze. We have the gaze. We've got anti-canon theory, and we've also got the whole topic of eco-criticism, which I personally don't know a lot of. For eco-criticism, I only read, what was this book? Amitav Ghosh's book. I know I'm not able to recall the name of the book right now. I actually enjoyed the book, but yeah. And we've got cognitive literary criticism, all of that. So yeah, this is pretty good, and I am eager to read it, to understand it, to make my notes on it, all of that. And it's been so long since I held a proper study material book, theory book in my hands, so feels good. So anyway, those are all the 4 books that I got in the month of June. Again, I think I was pretty I held a lot of control over myself when it comes to the number of books I got, just 4. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I try to keep it pretty short. Hopefully this is short by the end I finish filming it and check out the time. But yeah, those are all the books that I got in the month of June. If you have any of these in your wish list, in your TBR, let me know, and perhaps we can do a buddy read. Hopefully, since I'm done with the shifting and all of the major stuff, I'll be free to actually do any sort of buddy reads with you. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you again very soon in another video. Until then, take care. Peace out. Bye.